What if I told you that one of the best marathon racing shoes in the world doesn't have air or boost in it? Today, let's explore the Saucony Endorphin Pro.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a sticker. She picture perfect, so I told her mama flick up. Bill, I'm in the mood.
Hey, Jordan Thomas here. These are the Saucony Endorphin Pro. I had a really great experience in the Triumph 17 and 18, and I wanted to find out whether or not Saucony was the right shoe for me when it came to racing. So I was able to pick these up retail back in July for that $200. So let's jump right into the fit. I have been enjoying Saucony's overall modernized approach to the fit. I went to the 11.5. I found that the shoe was still somewhat narrower than like the Triumph 17 or 18, but it still offered a generous amount of room in the toe box, and it gives you this nice overall wider base. And so if you have a wider foot, you're gonna really enjoy these shoes. I found that I still had just enough room in my toe, as well as a little bit of room in the heel cup area. Now, one of the things that I believe one of my initial concerns was the fact that there's very minimal padding back here. And so, but I didn't really experience any heel slipping or anything like that. And this overall, just like very breathable type mesh, it does remind me of a track spike. That's what Saucony was going for, and I believe they nailed it. I thought this was extremely helpful, particularly the fact that it's been like in the hundreds a couple of times here in LA here recently. And so when I took these out for like a longer, like 12-mile type effort, I appreciated that. For me, the magic is typically always in the midsole, and I believe Saucony does nail it with the Power Run PB. The only problem is I would have liked to have seen some more of it in the overall forefoot. I believe because of the combination of this with the carbon fiber plate, it does feel a little bit stiff the first few minutes into a run. And so if you're a person who likes to start off really fast when it comes to your runs, be mindful of that. But I didn't feel like I was in bad company, because when I checked out this really cool article from Jared Ward, he talked about that as well. And that in initial parts of his run, he would start off a bit slower, although considerably faster than me, but his runs would start off a little bit slower. But once he built up his momentum, he was rocking and rolling. You got this overall offset. You're not gonna be too far off the ground, although it is higher than one of the higher stack height shoes, being like a Triumph 18, which sits at about 32.5 millimeters. You're gonna be just slightly higher than that at 35.5, but it doesn't feel like that big of a difference, honestly. And then overall, you get 8 millimeters. And so what that means is that if you're used to like something like the Triumph 18, then you're going to feel like this shoe feels very familiar. I think also because of that nice wider base, you're gonna feel pretty connected to the ground. Overall, the shoe is very stable, and I think that's really gonna be due to two factors. One, it's not that tall when you compare it to another brand, which definitely maxes out at 40 millimeters. The other thing is they offer an overall wider base, and so if you're worried about wobbling, once again, if you have just a wider foot or just want to feel like you have more of an opportunity for your feet to lay out or just feel like you're not gonna tip over, this shoe certainly offers that for you. Carbon plate, I know that it's in there. If it wasn't for the stiffness, I probably would barely notice it. I found that the speed roll, once you built up new momentum, it was pretty enjoyable. The outsole, pretty basic, very minimal rubber. You got some exposed foam. I actually do kind of like this design with like the rolling motion. I just think about it that way. And I like that they have a little bit of Saucony branding here. Obviously with this exposed foam, it's gonna get dirty quite quickly. But it's kind of like getting upset about a tire in a car getting dirty, like they're running shoes, they're gonna get dirty. Just offered pretty good traction, nothing really to ride home about, but it didn't get in the way of any of my runs. To me, these shoes felt best when I was taking it out for longer runs. And so when I started off a particular workout where I was mixing like threshold with interval type work, the threshold work, other than like the first couple of minutes, felt really good as I worked my way down to just outside of marathon pace. Also, legs felt really fresh the day after workout, so no residual pain in my legs. Feet felt really good, and so from a comfort level standpoint, you're certainly going to get a decent amount of wear in this shoe. Now, the thing that wasn't so great in the shoes was more speed-oriented type of workouts. And so one of the reasons I liked mixing a threshold workout with some interval training is I get to work different systems in my body, and I get to put the shoe through a range of different paces. And so what I found was that each time I would go to like break the interval down, it's like when I would start off the run, it would take me a while to kind of get my momentum going. And then towards the end of the interval, I would feel really good, but I would stop and then have to start again. And after doing that multiple times, initially I felt like it was a fail in the speed department. And so I had this to say. I don't feel like these shoes are very fast. Each time I go to put together a video about a shoe, I'm looking for the story in my experience. And so I just don't want to just rattle off what I thought on one particular workout, because ultimately you're buying a shoe for a number of different things. So ultimately, how do I think you should use this shoe? Well, first and foremost, it is a racing shoe. So I think if you're looking at a half marathon or a marathon, you're gonna be money with this. In terms of like when I believe you should introduce this shoe into your overall training plan, think back half. So if you're doing like a 10 to 12 week plan, wait till like week 5, week 6 to kind of sprinkle it in there, maybe like a key tempo workout, maybe one of your overall longer runs. I don't want you to waste miles in this particular shoe. It's not that big of a difference if you've already had like a standard training shoe, and I think that's one of the beauties of it. In terms of like mileage, I think you're probably gonna get somewhere between 150 to 200 miles. I think if you're looking for like a racing shoe that has like elements of a training shoe, then you're definitely gonna be happy with this. I would describe this shoe overall as being like an understated performance shoe. Like to look at it, you wouldn't say like, oh, this is fast, or oh, this is that much different than my training. And that's what you want on race day. You want something that's somewhat familiar. Now, ultimately, who do I think this shoe is gonna be for? Ultimately, I think if you just appreciate an understated, high-performing shoe, this is gonna be a shoe that I think you're gonna wanna reach for. The fact that it doesn't look like a racing shoe might be the thing that now compels you to go ahead and purchase one. If you're used to running in Saucony shoes and you're just looking for something that's gonna be maybe a little bit slimmer or a little bit lighter, certainly pick this up. And also, if you just describe yourself as less of an aggressive runner, but just one that just runs purely from a state of joy, then I think this is gonna be a great shoe for you. Also, I know this is a pro shoe, but of the marathon racing shoes that I've seen come out this year, I would actually feel the most comfortable recommending this one to a beginner, because there's just enough wiggle room in kind of all directions that I would rather see someone start with a shoe like this and then make adjustments over time as they learn more about their particular running style. For me, I'm gonna be saving these. I wanna see how I progress over this next coming year. I do kind of wanna do a marathon, especially if it comes back in 2021 for LA Marathon. And if I was to say if I was gonna run a marathon right now, it would be close. I'd be close to wearing these. The two things that kind of concern me about this particular shoe, one is the fact that I have to build up so much momentum early on to get running. That's just not the way that I like to run. Another thing is that for me, because of the overall like wider base and wider shoe, it doesn't feel fast to me. And so I have to kind of like wrap my head around running a shoe that I don't necessarily feel fast, but I will eventually become fast in it. Would I pick this over the Alphafly for the marathon? Yes. Would I pick it over the Alphafly for anything under 10K? No. It just doesn't suit my running style. And if I put this against the Vaporfly, for me, it's still gonna be the Vaporfly, only because I appreciate the additional cushioning that's available in the forefoot. But by this no means is my final decision. It's just the where I'm at right now. There's one other marathon racing shoe that's gonna be coming out soon and I'm very much looking forward to, but for now, these are good. And that's good enough. A couple bonus things. The fact that you get this nice premium box, like tell me who doesn't like a premium box? And you got this pretty cool colorway. Now, personally, I would like to see these in black and gold, similar to the Endorphin Speed, but that's just my take on things. It appears that pre-orders are available back on the Saucony website. Let me know what questions you have in the comments. I look forward to talking with you, and I will see you next time. Jordan Thomas, peace.